Hello, everyone. This is Silk coming to you with Operation Thunderball Turn 10 Tactical Recap. This is something I kind of wanted to do a little bit earlier, but I decided to kind of push it off um, just because of how my turns were going and kind of what was going on. And what I'm going to try to kind of do from a bit of a almost educational kind of standpoint is pull the curtain aside just a little bit with some of these turns as they come around to the end and kind of give some behind the scenes of what I think is going on and what the different units are doing and who's fighting for what and all those sorts of things, and maybe get into some interesting rule situations or tactical decisions that players made. Just some commentary, not terribly different from what a sports commentator might make, kind of thing. That said, obviously I'm not actually a neutral commentator the way those would be, since I am a player in the game. But I'm going to try to at least be pretty close to that. Um, this will be just kind of a fun little thing that I kind of wanted to do. Now that my main concern at the time was that I knew I was going to make a surprise attack, and I wanted to kind of keep that to myself mostly. Germany did know what I was doing, but nobody else did. So now that we're past that point, most of my big surprises are gone. So I thought this might be a fun thing to kind of do with all of you. So let's chat about the game here. What I've got here, I wanted to kind of discuss the income chart and kind of some of the ramifications of it. We can see where everybody's at, and at first glance, this is not real great for the Axis here. Japan's at 45 and Germany's at 48, but our enemies, the Soviet Union's at 56, so she's making more than Germany. The U.S. is all the way at full wartime. She's making 70, almost probably 15 more than Japan right now. Something in that neighborhood. Maybe not quite 15, 13, somewhere in that around there. Um, and if the Axis are going to have a chance, they need to close that gap. So we're going to have to do some things that the Germans are going to try to go up here and kind of drag the Soviets back down to them. And there's not a whole lot Japan can do to lower the American score. There's really not a whole lot anybody can do to lower the American score. But Japan's going to try to at least snag some more income in the next turn or so. The Dutch Islands are going to help with that and just get us a little bit higher so we can compete. Meanwhile, the FEC is all the way down here at 5. They're in trouble. They lost their bank, so didn't get to have a buy phase at the time, and they're already kind of up against the wall here. That is the advantage of the capitation, is that it really puts the FEC in a bind. Disadvantages is that you get a fully powered America here ready to go pretty early in the game. It's only turn 10. Normally you'd want to see that around turn 12, so we'll see what terrible things Global War Enthusiast does to all of us. Other thing to see here is you've got to still have a very, very strong France at 6 versus a Vichy France at 1. That war's pretty well over and done with. You've got a peaceful Italy. They haven't gone to war with anybody yet, so they're still just kind of hanging out at 10. And the FEC or not the FEC, the KMT is in also kind of a bad spot now that Burma's fallen. They're down to 1 IPP. They no longer have their bonus, so they're going to struggle probably for most of the next few turns, if not the whole game here. Take a quick look at the Czech chart. This was all of my hopes and dreams that didn't quite come to fruition for Japan here. I was very much hoping that I'd get to heavy large ships before the U.S. did by at least a turn. It's possible that's still going to happen. He did catch up to me and get us both to stage 3, and then I was afraid he was going to beat me to it, and fortunately enough, PB did not let him have that, so we'll be racing for that some more and see what happens there. But if you notice, Germany's rolling right along. It's turn 10. They've already got 4 completed techs. They've got another one on stage 3 close to getting completed, another one at stage 2 close to getting completed. Actually, 2 at stage 2. So he's certainly going to unlock a whole new tech. Curious to see what Panzer picks for that. Might be artillery. Might be improved construction. Heavy armor if he wants Tigers. No, logistics. He might grab logistics again. That'd be another one. Logistics for Germany is very, very good if you can manage it. But this 9+ is a scary number. But it is very, very good as German technologies go. The one thing that I kind of wanted to call out to was a little bit follow up on what GWE said in his video about the U.S. technology program. So on one hand, this is incredible. These are the hardest technologies to get, being at 9 plus. It's only turn 10. He started rolling for it on turn 3, so he's rolled 14 dice, 7 each, and managed to get 4 successes at 9 plus for each one of those. That is incredibly good, and having both of these done already is incredibly good. I could probably see another 20 Global War games, and I would not see this here. The U.S. having 2 9 plus technologies completed by turn 10. The downside for him, though, is that's all he's got. To his point, like he would much rather, I think, if he, given where he's at, have gotten some of these other technologies going so that he can impact the war faster. Japan has improved construction done, and he's still 2 stages behind. For example, he doesn't have a combat unit, advanced artillery or advanced heavy armor. He's not even trying for heavy armor. Usually with U.S., I want one of those two. I either want the advanced artillery or the heavy armor, so that he can get good units onto boats and crushing people. He is well on his way to the tech supremacy. I have to imagine he's going to get it, given that he just has these 2 left for the victory point. So he's going to get it sometime. But overall, he's definitely feeling a little bit of a pinch there. Italy has improved construction and just kind of slowly, looks like, working on LRA just to kind of hang out there. That's not a surprise. And then, this, I might need to correct this. I think we figured out that Bruce might have lost his rocket success. So correct me if you need to, Bruce, but I think that's actually at stage 1. I think we had to strip him of a rocket success because of a factory that he moved. So this might be at stage 1, which it's definitely a bummer, because him having both of these at stage 2 also is him moving pretty rapidly to his tech supremacy point. He just needs these 2 techs, but I think rockets might be a 1, so that does put him a little further behind. And unfortunately for Bruce, improved factories being at 2 and artillery being at 0 is absolutely not where he wants to be, especially with him going to war with Germany. So he no longer has the MR Pact technology dice to help him out. So he might find himself in some tight spots 3 or 4 turns from now. That's it for tech. Oh, and of course we have the wonderful French. If they can manage to get the French free, they do have a quite impressive tech program. Oh, I didn't comment on the Brits. Brits are rolling right along, I think. Having radar and IC done. Like that's kind of the key things that they want to do. And then he's working on the aircraft because he's clearly going for a pretty based plane. Like they've got, I think, 4 or 5 planes in England at this point. So he's definitely wanting to go straight up against the Germans in an air fight, seemingly. So that's going to be plenty solid for him. Artillery is another one, and amphib doctrine that I tend to like. Yeah, artillery and amphib doctrine are the other 2 that I'm rather fond of for the Brits. But we'll see what Hambone decides to do. As we go look at the board, I'm just going to talk a little bit about what happened. Certainly the biggest event of the turn was my decapitation strike on Calcutta. I've never actually made that many big attacks in one turn before. I was a little concerned I wouldn't be able to hit them all, but I did kind of know that I had advanced forces on all sides. So I did a series of fights, but I did have edge in all of them. The surprise attack does give you a significant advantage in its mechanics, and it just worked. I was very, very pleased with how it went. Calcutta could have gone a little bit better, but it could have also gone worse. So you just have to dice or dice. When you win, be happy with your wins. They can always end up on the other side of it, as dear old Panzer J experienced with Warsaw, where he just had to fight claw for a fight that he shouldn't have had to fight claw for, and sometimes you just gotta kind of take your lumps and be happy with your wins. That said, this little fight in the Philippines, I didn't even consider the idea that I was gonna flip those ships, and Ginobue brought it up to me in his review, and I hadn't even thought of it, even tactically, because I don't think I've ever seen them there before, and yeah, that worked out. That is definitely going to make my next turn a whole lot more fun. Something you're not going to see very often. Going into cross China fight here, overall, we're pretty pleased with where we're at here. The 106th is big, but it's not too scary. He does have the 4 artillery, the 2 mountains, but that's 6 units. All of these other guys, which I think is 24 units, 11, 17, 18, 19, 20, 26. So he's got 26 units that suffer from attack weakness. And that's going to just make conducting any offensive uh, operation really, really difficult for the KMT. And now that Burma has fallen, they no longer get the $2 from the Burma Road, and they no longer have any access to getting Lend-Lease. So they're just now kind of stuck by themselves alone. And not entirely sure what we're going to do about them, whether I'm going to try to cut them down and kill them, or just kind of let them hang out there. Kind of got to see what other players do and how my attacks go next turn. But KMT is definitely in a bit of a pickle there. Bruce did get the CCP out. He survived, and they're kind of doing what CCP does. He's just kind of licking his wounds. He's slowly recovering. His army's getting a little bit bigger. Wouldn't be surprised if at some point he decides to bring them out, or he may just keep them there and just kind of protect from any possible Japanese hopes and dreams of coming up here. So far, Japan and Russia have the non-aggression pact. We've been really pretty good about it, although Bruce, I do see this airborne right here, just FYI. So we are keeping a pretty close eye on him. Just want to make sure you knew that we know that he's there. Other than that, he's got his Mongolian guys and just a couple here, and just enough to kind of ward him off was all I was doing. So that's kind of there for that. You will see Japan sweep across the DEI next turn. It was something that Panzer J and I had kind of coordinated how and when and what time, and we kind of let him know what my plans were and where I thought things were going. And as the board game kept changing, I kind of kept updating him on when I thought we would attack, and it'll definitely be next turn now that it's already under. We're already at war with Britain, so this getting aligned to Britain doesn't matter. So Japan will kind of swoop in and do some kills. The Brits are going to get a couple subs out of it. They'll get this one, and this one will both survive, but hopefully we'll kill the transport and the destroyer without too much trouble and get our income up. The Anzac is kind of hold up. The fortification is going to help protect him from any predations of the Japanese, and I think he's just mostly looking to kind of bottle himself up. He is building some subs to harass me a bit and kind of keep things going that way, and kind of keep the U.S., which are right over here. He did bring the whole Atlantic Fleet over to deal with me, so there definitely could be a major naval collision in our future here. Anticipate these fleets may join up either they may join up in Hawaii. They may come down to Line Islands. We'll see what GWE has in mind. A few options. He may try to go north. He may try to go south down here to protect here. He may come through the middle, try to get to Guam through Caroline. Like, we'll see what he's got in mind. His buy didn't have any ships on it that I saw, so that was interesting. He did go heavy into infantry to use his ability. Which, speaking of that, we should go take a look at the Eastern Front. So Bruce surprised me, and I think he probably surprised Panzer J too there. He had a whole force of guys all set up here on the Finnish border, and I was pretty confident he was going to attack Valpuri, blitz through Lapland, and really just kind of take Finland in one quick swoop, and then do a fast follow-up the turn after to kind of finish it off and get his tech points. But he either saw something that he didn't like in the Germans. He saw maybe an opportunity to kill the German fleet there. Maybe the Allies paid him with some sort of bribe that we haven't seen yet. As maybe America's going to start bringing some fighters over or something to Lend-Lease to the Soviets. Not entirely sure, but I was a little surprised that the Soviets went to war, and I'm pretty sure Panzer J didn't expect it either, given the way he was kind of positioned. These are a couple of big armies here, but neither one is really threatening to invade Russia yet. Especially with all these units here. Like that's a whole lot of blitzing units that aren't really in position to do any blitzing. So was a little surprised that Bruce did that, but I think maybe he knows things that we don't. That's always a possibility. I like down here. Bruce has got a pretty commanding control here of the Mideast. I'm a big fan of this. Was a little surprised that he brought the cavalry back up and didn't bring more infantry down, but he has the factory down here. So this is pretty close to how I kind of want my Soviets to be. This is factory, I think, is why he lost his rocket advance, by the way, was moving that factory. But it's a good spot for a factory. You want to hold Transcaucasia. You want to threaten the Mideast. You want to eventually take this. This is a victory point for Istanbul. It's a victory point for the Soviets. So it's a critical one they need to take. And you can either take it by air, you could try to take it by boat, or you could try to take it by land through the Mideast. And he may try to do all three, well, in some combination. The fact that he has 6 planes makes an air attack going to Istanbul a whole lot more versatile if he can make it work. He's got plenty of units. He's got the money here. That would entail a war with the Allies, though. If he wants to take it by land, he'd have to go through Syria. But Syria and Transjordan obviously aren't exactly too protected right now. So if he really decides he wants to do that, he can probably do that if the political repercussions don't concern him. But again, that kind of depends a lot. There's a lot of politics in this game for the first 15 turns or so, and then after that, everybody's just fighting for every point they can get, and cooperation kind of ends. But just some things to keep an eye out on. Take a quick look at Germany here. Overall, he did suffer some terrible, not great dice going through France and Poland early on. It really kind of just forced Panzer J to slow down a bit and kind of recover some troops and get things going. He's got a pretty large air attack force here. That's, just stacked full of planes here. Fighters and transports all ready to go. And that is very much why you see this response from England with all of these anti-aircraft guns and fighters and whatnot of their own to try to kind of, there's definitely an air war here bleeding. Wouldn't be surprised if the Netherlands falls here. That is, again, once Panzer J knows that I'm going to DEI, he can go into the Netherlands. That's just as a kind of heads up to just new players. In V4, the timing on that is absolutely critical. You need to make sure that the German player and the Japanese player are on the same page for the Dutch. If either player kind of does things without coordinating with the other one, it can cause some real pain for the Axis. You can either attack it pre-war, and by pre-war I mean war with the U.S. and England, with Japan, and then have Germany take it a turn after, or you need to take them both on the same turn when you're already at war with England, which is what we're going to end up doing here. I think I'm going to go shopping this week. That's what I think I'm going to do. Yeah, so very likely that the Netherlands are going to go down here. I'm going to take the Dutch East Indies. So the Axis are going to get some little bit higher message from one of my Discord friends there. A little bit higher income kind of going in, and we'll see what Soviets do. Italy has been standing pat, but if you'll notice over here, she just dropped 3 battleships on the board. Those are going to go to stage 2. Very likely they're going to go to stage 1. And suddenly, in 2 turns from now, the Italians are going to have a very legit, powerful fleet that they can put in the med to push things around a little bit, which should allow them to operate a lot more aggressively. These territories here in Africa being available for the Italians, they would like to take those. Of course, they'd like to take Egypt, Malta, Crete, Greece. All of these are victory points, so that's a possibility. Or Italy may fake out a war and decide to stay peaceful and support Germany. You never know, but for the Allies, they don't know. That's kind of the challenge. So they kind of have to make sure they can deal with all circumstances. And 3 battleships to go with the one that's already on the board is definitely gonna get some attention from the Allies. As for the Brits, they've pretty well put an end to the Battle of the Atlantic right now. I don't think they're too much more worried about it anymore. But Panzer J is working on advanced submarines, right? Nope, he's not. Oh yeah, he is. That's what I thought. He is working on advanced submarines, so he gets those into the water, and that Battle of the Atlantic is going to turn right back on. I think that's all I've got here. If anybody has any questions or comments, just kind of throw them in there, and I'll do my best to answer it. And this is Silk. Everybody, have a good day.